Yeah, no, that's right. It's hard to think when you look back and all of a sudden it's 10 years, but we've had an awful lot to do. We've had hundreds of millions of assets to deal with. We've had 500 staff working very hard over this sort of 10-year period in order to get to this result today. So we look back over 10 years and see that we've now returned over £44 billion worth of securities and assets to Lehman creditors, who obviously were very concerned about their position 10 years ago.
Many of our viewers, even though they study financial markets, probably have no idea what happened behind the scenes in this cleanup process. So just talk us through some of the challenges and some of the highlights.
Yeah, I mean, the challenges were just extreme. We had, clearly an unprecedented situation when we arrived on that Monday morning. Indeed, we were in briefly over the weekend. Because of the shock headlines and the feeling on the street out there. Yeah, exactly. It's there were 5,000 people working in London, 20,000 people elsewhere in the world. It's a human story as well. Lots of concerns about their livelihood, but actually when we turned up, the screens were blank. There was no money in the bank account to deal with things, and so we had to bring in a process. We had to borrow money very quickly in order to pay the staff we retained. And once we got the screens back up and working, actually look and work out what we had to do, which proved to just be so significant.
Russell, that's the difference between me and you. We were both there on Monday morning at Canary Wharf. I was outside reporting, you were inside trying to sort out the mess. But what I think was one of the most damning things about it was I've got a friend who's, I've got to be very careful, he's a very senior executive in securities lending. And he was working for a senior lender in the of the United States. And he turned around to me and said, we thought we were fine. We thought we were fine. We knew what we had with Lehman's. But when we peeled back the onion with various counterparties, we found that actually there was a doom loop or like an LMX spiral, whatever you want to call it, which meant we had credit positions with Lehman's left, right and centre. And at one point we thought we were going down as well. I think I've left that vague enough. How can that not happen again? Because the securities lending industry was shocked to the core to find out who their eventual counterparties were. That, for me, was one of the most damning things about Lehman.
Yeah, I think that there's been a lot of developments since then. I think people are much tighter about where their relationships are and clearly manage that on a much more proactive basis, so that they're looking at it on a daily basis, and I'm quite sure that won't happen again. Here within the UK, we've got new regulations so that if a firm does fail, the assets will hopefully be returned much quicker than we saw with Lehman itself.
Do you think the same situation could occur? Because if you look at the way central banks now react in crisis situations and markets, they open up the taps, liquidity floods into the market, and you may not have a company like Lehman's that would be allowed to be let go, so to speak. Do you think that sort of situation would play out again because of liquidity?
I don't think we'll see anything on the size of Lehman again. The banks are smaller, they've got more capital, so hopefully they'll be better prepared to weather any financial storm that comes. So no, I think it's unlikely. I'm sure from time to time you will see failures, but nowhere on the scale that we've seen here.
Hey everybody, it's Hadley Gamble from our new CNBC Middle East Bureau in Abu Dhabi. Thanks for stopping by. Now to watch more, you can try one of the videos that just popped up on your screen. And don't forget to subscribe.